I bet you didn't know how diverse US demographics really are. Hey there, nerd fighters, let's explore. And today we're diving headfirst into the fascinating world of US demographics. Buckle up because we're about to uncover some surprising facts about the places where people put down roots, raised families, and maybe, just maybe, perfected the art of the casserole. Now we all know America, the land of opportunity, the great melting pot, a place where you can find a taco truck on every corner and a Starbucks on every other one. But like a really good history book, there's more to the story. We're talking about those pockets of the country where things are a little less blended. Today we're embarking on a wild ride through the whitest states in America. We're talking about those places where the landscape hasn't changed much, where traditions run deep, and where, yes, you might just find an abundance of people who look like they stepped out of a Norman Rockwell painting. Now, before you grab your pitchforks and accuse me of, being a terrible person, let's be clear, this isn't about judging anyone or stirring up controversy. It's about exploring the hows and whys of history, understanding the cultural tapestry of our nation, and maybe, just maybe, having a few laughs along the way. So, grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and let's get this demographic party started. First up on our list of surprisingly homogeneous states is Wisconsin, a place where the beer flows like water, cheese is considered a food group, and the Green Bay Packers reign supreme. Seriously, you haven't experienced true fandom until you've seen a room full of cheeseheads on game day. Wisconsin's history is a blend of European influences, with German, Polish, and Scandinavian immigrants flocking to the state in the 19th century, drawn by the promise of affordable farmland and, well, cheese. These settlers brought with them their traditions, their languages, and most importantly, their recipes. And let's not forget about the beer. Wisconsin has a long and storied brewing tradition thanks in no small part to those German immigrants. From Miller to Pabst to a whole slew of craft breweries popping up faster than you can say cheese curd, Wisconsinites take their beer seriously. And who can blame them? It's this unique blend of cultural influences that has shaped Wisconsin into the state it is today, a place that's fiercely proud of its heritage, its food, and, of course, its football team. Next up, we're heading west to Wyoming, where the mountains scrape the sky, the wind whispers tales of the Wild West, and the population density makes social distancing look like a crowded mosh pit. Wyoming is big, like really big. It's the 10th largest state by area but the least populous. A whole lot of space for not a lot of people. Historically a land of cowboys and ranchers. European settlers arrived in the 19th century drawn by land and the frontier. They faced harsh conditions but persevered. Today Wyoming's population remains overwhelmingly white. While more diverse now, it's still one of the least diverse states. Wyoming is full of heart, history, and wide open spaces. Chapter 4, South Dakota land of tractors and lutefisk? Alright, internet friends, buckle up because we're headed to the land of Mount Rushmore wide open spaces, and a whole lot of hardy folks, South Dakota. South Dakota boasts over 85% of its population identifying as white. You might be picturing endless fields of wheat and, well, you wouldn't be wrong. Germans, Norwegians, Swedes, they all flock to South Dakota like moths to a flame. They weren't afraid of a little hard work, a little cold weather, or a lot of lutefisk. And before you ask, yes, lutefisk is a real thing. These settlers brought their traditions, languages, and love of polka music. They turned those vast prairies into fertile farmlands and built communities that still thrive today. For one thing, it's home to the stunning Black Hills National Forest. And speaking of stunning, have you seen pictures of the Badlands? But the real heart of South Dakota lies in its people. So next time you're looking for an adventure off the beaten path, consider a trip to South Dakota. Chapter 5, Kentucky, horses, bourbon, and fried chicken. Hold your horses, folks, because we're galloping into Kentucky, the bluegrass state. And trust me, this state is more than just bluegrass and horses, although they definitely have those in spades. Kentucky, my friends, is a state steeped in tradition, charm, and a whole lot of southern hospitality. Kentucky grabs the number 7 spot on our list, with 86% of its population identifying as white. Now Kentucky was settled by some pretty resilient folks, mostly Scots-Irish immigrants looking for a fresh start. and fresh start they found amidst the rolling hills, fertile farmland, and yes, those iconic horse farms. Speaking of horses, Kentucky is synonymous with the Kentucky Derby, the most exciting 2 minutes in sports. But don't let the fancy hats and mint juleps fool you. Kentucky is a state with a down-to-earth soul. This is a place where people still wave at strangers, say y'all without a hint of irony, and know the importance of a good cast iron skillet. Because, you see, Kentucky is also a haven for foodies. Sure, Kentucky is famous for its bourbon, and rightfully so. But let's talk about the real star of the show, the fried chicken. Kentucky Fried Chicken isn't just a restaurant chain, my friends, it's a way of life here. It's practically a religion. But Kentucky's culinary scene goes way beyond fried chicken, although the fried chicken is truly spectacular. From down-home barbecue joints to upscale farm-to-table restaurants, Kentucky has something to tantalize every taste bud. And let's not forget about the music. Kentucky is the birthplace of bluegrass, a genre that's all about banjos, fiddles, and heartfelt storytelling. But you'll also find a thriving scene for country, rock, and everything in between. So if you're looking for a state with a rich history, warm hospitality, and enough delicious food to satisfy even the most discerning palate, look no further than Kentucky. Just be sure to pack your stretchy pants. Chapter 6. New Hampshire. Small state, big personality. From the bluegrass state, we're heading north to New Hampshire, the granite state. Don't let its small size fool you. New Hampshire is bursting with personality. It's like that friend who may be quiet, but when they speak, everyone listens. This is a state where you can practically taste the history in the air. It's also home to the majestic White Mountains, a hiker's paradise. They're known for their dry wit, love of flannel shirts, and sense of community. Just be sure to bring your appetite for maple syrup. All right, we're halfway through our list of the whitest states in America, but we're certainly not halfway through the interesting demographics. And for number 6, let's head on over to Big Sky Country, Montana. This state is known for its stunning landscapes, wide open spaces, and you guessed it, a predominantly white population. Now, Montana's population density is pretty low, but the percentage of people who identify as white is high. We're talking about 89% here, folks. That's a lot of folks with European ancestry. Why'd they settle here? Well, picture this: rugged mountains, vast prairies, and not a whole lot of people. It was the perfect place for hardy settlers from Scotland, Ireland, and Scandinavia to put down roots. These were folks who didn't shy away from a little hard work and didn't mind being surrounded by, well, mostly nature. I mean, you had to be tough to make it in early Montana. Think about it. Harsh winters, limited resources, and probably a grizzly bear or two lurking around. It was basically the Wild West, but with more snow and fewer saloons. But Montana's more than just cowboys and wide open spaces, you know? It's got a rich history, a vibrant culture, and some of the friendliest people you'll ever meet. And let's not forget about the craft breweries popping up all over the state. You've got to try a locally brewed IPA while gazing at a mountain range. It's practically a rite of passage in Montana. Plus, the state has a growing arts and culture scene, so it's not all just like hunting and fishing. Although there is a lot of hunting and fishing. I mean, it is Montana after all, but the point is, there's more to this state than meets the eye. It's a place of contrasts, you know? Where else can you find a rodeo and a poetry slam in the same town? That's Montana for you. A unique blend of rugged individualism and a surprising amount of sophistication. Coming in hot at number 7 on our list of the whitest states is Iowa. Now, when you think of Iowa, you probably think of cornfields, right? And you wouldn't be wrong. But Iowa's more than just corn, okay? It's also got a really high percentage of people who identify as white. We're talking a solid 90% here. That's a lot of folks with European heritage, mostly descended from German and Scandinavian settlers. These were people who looked at those vast, fertile fields and thought, yeah, we can make a life here. And make a life they did. They built farms, they established communities, and they passed down their traditions through generations. I mean, have you ever been to an Iowa State Fair? It's basically a celebration of all things Midwestern, from deep-fried everything to prize-winning livestock. And speaking of deep-fried everything, Iowa's State Fair is legendary. You can find anything there from butter sculptures to pig races, and yes, even deep-fried butter itself. It's a true testament to Iowa's agricultural heritage and its love for, well, food on a stick. But Iowa's not all about the simple life, you know? They've got cities too, like Des Moines and Cedar Rapids, with their own unique vibes and cultures. Des Moines in particular has a surprisingly hip and happening downtown area. Plus, Iowa plays a pivotal role in presidential elections with its first-in-the-nation caucuses. So, you know, they're kind of a big deal politically, but honestly, the best part about Iowa might just be the people. Iowans are known for their friendliness, their work ethic, and their love of a good potluck. They're the kind of folks who will invite you over for dinner even if they just met you 5 minutes ago. Alright folks, we're moving on to number 8 on our list of the whitest states, and this time we're heading to the Appalachian Mountains, West Virginia. This state is known for its rugged beauty, its coal mining heritage, and you guessed it, a predominantly white population. We're talking about 93% of the population identifying as white, with most folks tracing their roots back to Scottish and Irish immigrants. These were hardy folks who came to West Virginia seeking a new life, drawn by the promise of land and opportunity. They settled in the valleys and hollows, built homes, and carved out a living from the land. And of course, they brought their music with them. Bluegrass music, to be exact. Born in the hills of Appalachia, bluegrass is more than just music in West Virginia. It's a way of life, a tradition passed down through generations, a celebration of their heritage and their connection to the land. It's the sound of banjos and fiddles echoing through the mountains, of stories told through song, of a culture that's as rich and complex as the history of the state itself. Now, West Virginia has faced its share of challenges over the years, particularly with the decline of the coal industry. But despite those challenges, the spirit of the people remains strong. West Virginians are known for their resilience, their sense of community, and their deep connection to their home state. And let's not forget about West Virginia's natural beauty. This state is an outdoor enthusiast's paradise with its stunning mountain scenery, world-class whitewater rafting, and miles of hiking trails. You can go rock climbing, caving, fishing, you name it, West Virginia probably has it. Plus, they've got some pretty amazing food too. I'm talking about hearty home-cooked meals like biscuits and gravy, fried chicken, and of course, pepperoni rolls. Don't knock it until you've tried it. Trust me, it's a West Virginia delicacy. So yeah, West Virginia might be known for its predominantly white population and its coal mining past, but there's so much more to this state than meets the eye. Alright, we're getting close to the top of our list, and let's just say, things are getting pretty darn white. We're talking about Vermont, folks. Vermont is one of those states that always seems to pop up in those idyllic New England paintings. With its charming small towns and rolling hills, Vermont boasts a 94% white population. And speaking of maple syrup, did you know that Vermont produces more of the sweet stuff than any other state? So the next time you're drizzling some of that liquid gold on your pancakes, appreciate the legacy of those hardy Vermonters. Plus, let's not forget that Vermont is home to Ben & Jerry's ice cream. And I don't know about you, but I'm always down for a scoop of Cherry Garcia. And here we are, folks, the moment you've all been waiting for, the whitest state in America, Maine, with 95% of its population identifying as white. And let me tell you, when it comes to lobster, Maine does not disappoint. But Maine is more than just lobster, folks. It's a place of rugged beauty, with its rocky coastline, towering pine forests, and iconic lighthouses. End your day with fresh-caught seafood and a breathtaking view. It's the farthest northeast you can go in the contiguous United States. Maine might just be the place for you. Just don't forget to pack a warm sweater. And there you have it, the 10 whitest states in America, where European descendants still hold the majority. From the rolling hills of Vermont to the rugged coast of Maine, these states offer a glimpse into a particular slice of American history and culture. And let's face it, whether you're a fan of lutefisk or lobster rolls, these states have some pretty cool traditions worth exploring. So the next time you're looking for an adventure, why not venture off the beaten path and discover the unique charms of these predominantly white states? Thanks for watching. Drop a comment below if any of these states surprised you, and don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. See you in the next adventure.